After Iran reportedly forced the US Navy to halt its Hormuz mission, France's warships stopped short of entering the volatile Strait region. President Macron deployed the Charles de Gaulle carrier group toward the Red Sea, but France avoided moving directly near Iranian-controlled waters. France spoke about securing the Strait of Hormuz, yet its naval mission remained positioned outside the contested waterway amid rising tensions. As France pushed its own Hormuz initiative, US forces fired at an Iran-flagged vessel even while Trump called for peace talks. Amid rising tensions across the Gulf, France deployed its carrier strike group to the Red Sea as regional security concerns continued to grow. The French military said the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier is operating alongside Italian and Dutch warships during the deployment. According to Reuters on May 6, the French carrier group remained in the Red Sea instead of moving directly toward the Strait of Hormuz. French officials framed the deployment as part of a broader potential mission aimed at ensuring safe maritime transit through Hormuz. France and the United Kingdom have been working on a joint proposal to help reopen and secure shipping lanes in the strait. The European push comes as the United States struggle to break Iran's blockade efforts and fully restrict Iranian port activity. Washington on May 5 halted its newly launched Project Freedom mission just one day after beginning the operation in Hormuz. Meanwhile, reports on May 6 suggested that the United States and Iran were discussing a one-page memorandum to end the conflict. The proposed memo would formally end the war, though negotiations on Hormuz security and Iran's nuclear program would continue later. As President Donald Trump publicly pushed for peace negotiations with Iran, US military forces opened fire on an Iran-flagged tanker in the Gulf of Oman. The United States said the vessel was attempting to reach an Iranian port in violation of the ongoing maritime blockade in the region. US Central Command confirmed the incident in an official statement released on May 6, detailing the military confrontation at sea. According to CENTCOM, a US fighter jet fired several rounds at the unloaded Iranian-flagged tanker, ultimately disabling the vessel during the operation. Central Command statement read, and I quote, US forces operating in the Gulf of Oman enforced blockade measures by disabling an Iranian-flagged and laden oil tanker attempting to sail toward an Iranian port at 9 a.m. ET, May 6. US Central Command forces observed MT Hasna as it transited international waters en route to an Iranian port on the Gulf of Oman. American forces issued multiple warnings and informed the Iranian-flagged vessel it was in violation of the US blockade. After Hasna's crew failed to comply with repeated warnings, US forces disabled the tanker's rudder by firing several rounds from the 20mm cannon gun of a US Navy F/A-18 Super Hornet launched from USS Abraham Lincoln, CVN-72. Hasna is no longer transiting to Iran. The US blockade against ships attempting to enter or depart Iranian ports remains in full effect. CENTCOM forces continue to act deliberately and professionally to ensure compliance. Unquote. This came as President Donald Trump claimed the United States had held very good talks with Iran over the past 24 hours.
They want to make a deal. We've had very good talks over the last 24 hours. And it's very possible that we'll make a deal.
So,
yeah,
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. It's good to see you. What are the status of these talks? Said they're very good. Just give us some insight as to where we are at this point.
And we've had some good talks before, as you know.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the next day, they're like, they forgot what happened. They're proud, like these guys are proud. Nobody more proud than these guys.
Trump also claimed that Iran had agreed it would not be allowed to possess nuclear weapons under any future deal. This came amid reports that Washington was close to signing a one-page memorandum with Iran aimed at ending the war. According to two U.S. officials cited by Axios, the Trump administration has already handed Tehran a fresh set of proposed conditions. Washington is reportedly expecting a formal Iranian response within the next 48 hours, though no breakthrough has been officially confirmed so far. However, Trump's proposed terms are said to depend entirely on a final agreement, leaving the possibility of renewed military action still open. The conditions listed out by Trump administration are: Iran would reportedly commit to a long-term moratorium on all uranium enrichment-related activities under the proposed framework. In return, the United States would agree to gradually lift major economic sanctions imposed on Iran over the years. Washington is also expected to release billions of dollars in previously frozen Iranian financial assets as part of the deal. both Tehran and Washington would simultaneously move toward ending the blockade and restoring navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. France and the United States are aiming to ensure safe transit through the strait once the Iran-US conflict eventually comes to an end. France's presidency official said, and I quote, "The reason why we must make a renewed effort today is simply that if the blockade of Hormuz continues, the damage to the world's economy is therefore becoming more and more pronounced, and the risk of a prolongation of hostilities is too serious for us to accept it. What we are proposing is that Iran gains passage for its ships through the strait and in return commits to negotiating with the Americans on issues of nuclear materials, missiles, and the region, and we propose that the Americans for their part lift their blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and, in return, obtain Iran's commitment to negotiations. Under these conditions we could deploy the multinational force to secure the convoys crossing the Strait of Hormuz, and this obviously requires that the Iranians not fire on the ships." Unquote. The proposed mission would require coordination with Iran, while nearly a dozen countries are reportedly ready to participate. European nations have so far largely remained on the sidelines of the America-Israel versus Iran conflict despite growing regional tensions. This comes even as Middle East shipping routes face disruptions and global oil prices hover around $100 per barrel. With energy markets fluctuating sharply, European powers are now reassessing how to protect their strategic and economic interests. Europe's refusal to support the US-led blockade against Iran has also drawn criticism from Donald Trump in recent weeks.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.